Joe Espada is the new manager of the Houston Astros. Welcome back to another edition of Beyond the Diamond Podcast here on the Apollo Podcast Network. Brian Lalima, Apollo Des, producer Josh. Joe Espada is the 20th manager in franchise history for the Houston Astros, taking over the reins from Dusty Baker. Des, Josh, let's get into it. Joe Espada is the guy. They got it done.
It's a great day. We were on this podcast last week. We were asked the question, is it going to be Joe Espada?
Yep.
We said yes. Great weekend.
Yeah, we just watched the press conference where they introduced him and Dana Brown, the general manager. And, you know, one of the things that I read this morning is that they didn't even interview anybody else.
It was always Joe Espada.
Always Joe.
It was always Joe.
It was always Espada.
And, you know, last episode we talked about so many different candidates, Vegas odds, things that we've heard, things that we've read. And it was always Joe.
It was always Joe.
Joe all along.
I feel like Taylor Swift could write a song and call it It was always Joe.
It was always. That's actually pretty fire.
Yeah, it was always Joe.
We'll take like 1% royalties, Swifties on that. That's fine.
I will be a Swiftie if we get 1% royalties. But Joe Espada finally getting a shot. He's been interviewed for other manager spots.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're going to go through his history of being in the big leagues and coaching and things like that. But after watching 15 minutes of the press conference.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm bought in, dude.
You bought in?
I am ready to run
You
through
were a little skeptical at first.
Dude, I'm ready to run through a brick wall right now. Like I gotta keep readjusting because I'm a little bricked up.
Oh, all right. I'll make sure to keep the camera up.
Yeah, let's keep it up. But in all seriousness, like I'll admit it, I was a little skeptical. I was skeptical because he had been interviewed for other positions or potential manager positions, and he has not gotten a job as a big league manager. And again, if you want to go to another sport, look at Eric Bieniemy in the NFL. Dude's interviewed for like 1,000 head coaching spots, and he's never gotten it. Well, because he's quote unquote bad interviewer. After the way that he just talked, Joe Espada, you can tell he's personable. You can tell he's a man of faith. You can tell that he's going to have a good balance of analytics and feel. And yet, the most important thing that I thought at some point might be a downfall is his relationship with the players. He said it goes both ways, the trust factor. They trust me, I trust them, but trust is earned. I just, everything he said, man.
That's a bar.
Like, everything he said, and another thing, I tweeted it out, it was like one of the first things he said is, you know, he's been here since 2018. He said, I love this city, I love this team, and I love this community. I can't wait to get working.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, fire me up, man. Like,
get your hard hat on.
Dude, I'm ready to go
to work.
I'm ready to go. I don't know. I'm full. I'm on board. I'm on board. And here's the best part. It's not Brad Osmus. It's not Brad Osmus. Ray Montgomery.
I got the text Thursday night, and I sent it to y'all.
Yeah.
It was imminent. We got the lead in on it.
Yeah.
But it was still 90%.
Yeah.
That was a great text to receive, and I think the other side with the Espada too, and to harp on the elephant in the room is he never got a manager job, right? Yeah. And also thinking if you go back and look, the 17 job was David Ross, correct? Like they got David Ross when he interviewed for the Cubs.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then in 19 was the Rangers. So it was Woodruff or whatever his name was, Woodard or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
Chris Woodard.
Yeah.
So those are guys already that were in that system.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even know if we really had a chance to begin with.
Cubs brought it back twice though.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
2 interviews. Right?
Yeah.
So that means they showed interest.
But I think it was like, hey, we have our guy. Let's still. But I think that speaks volumes. I think in 21 he interviewed for Oakland. So maybe that's the only one where
I think the Rangers too at one point.
Yeah, the Rangers was in 19 when he interviewed. So look, the Astros got their guy. They have a guy that developed Jeremy Pena to be a Gold Glove. Carlos Correa speaks ad nauseum about how great Espada was to his development at being shortstop. You have a guy that not only is a player-led coach, but also was going to be the guy for Team Puerto Rico if that drama on the back end didn't happen in the World Baseball Classic. And you have a guy that's been here since 2018, and I think it speaks volumes that he transitioned with 2 managers because obviously after the scandal broke, the pandemic year, Dusty was not going to like bring in all his own guys. He was going to try to have a transition team. But after 21, he could have very well moved off Joe Espada, but kept Joe Espada around.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks volumes of how great of a coach he was in that time period. And, oh, by the way, he's seen a World Series, multiple pennants, and nothing but ALCSs. He knows the formula to success in Houston.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how often do new managers come in and the bench coach stays the same? Especially
not a lot.
especially after how much the Astros, whole thing was blown up when Dusty came in.
100%.
Like, that's kind of wild that I didn't even really think about that.
Yeah. I mean, he literally stayed. He was Hinch's guy.
Yeah.
Scandal broke. All the fallout. Dusty still stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And then stayed after that when, okay, this was a transition year and I'm going to bring my guy in. Nope. It was still Joe. It was always Joe Espada.
Yeah.
It was always Joe.
Yeah. He's been through, let's see, AJ Hinch, Dusty Baker, I believe
3 GMs.
Right, 3 GMs. That's another thing. And I believe when he was with the Yankees, he had Joe Girardi. He was also whoever he was with he was with the Marlins in 2010, right? 2009, 2002, whoever. So he's been a coach with the Marlins, the Yankees, and now the Astros. So that's 3 big league clubs that he has learned under different managers and general managers.
If you go to his Wikipedia page, you could look at that firm handshake. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at those forearms, dude. Our coach is yoked.
Yeah, man. He was putting the jersey on. Dana Brown and the PR, the communication team for the Astros put it on. I was like, damn, dude, this guy's kind of yacked up.
Only 48.
Yeah.
From San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Another guy that's high on him is Alex Cora.
Alex Cora.
He tweeted out something with the Puerto Rico flag.
Friend of the program.
Is he though?
Alex Cora?
He is?
Probably.
Probably
I'm wearing an
probably
Apple,
not after some of the things we tweeted.
I'm wearing an Apple Watch.
He was always my guy.
Yeah.
Was he?
I love Cora.
Why was he always your guy?
I think it fall in the same vein as Espada, a
Players coach.
Players coach, was a great bench coach, was a great buffer between manager and players.
Did anything it took to win?
Did anything that took to win? Any means necessary. Got that dog in him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you really love a guy like that.
And also had the vision
Yeah.
to upgrade a system from a caveman like to a digital Apple Watch like too. So that was a real workman mentality.
Yeah, really.
of Joey C.
You got to adjust to technology.
You have to make adjustments.
You can't-
It's a game of adjustments.
If you don't, you're getting left in the past.
100%.
You got to adapt or die, and so he went straight to the Apple Watch. So good
Keep up
for
with the times.
Good for Alex
Absolutely.
Cora. Check that out. All right. Who is Joe Espada? All right. Who is the manager of the Houston Astros? Well, it's Joe Espada, but what does his history look like? So let's check it out and go through who Joe Espada is. I believe he played some college ball, University of Mobile. Mobile Rams. He set a Mobile record with a 442 batting average. Drafted by the Oakland Athletics.
45th overall.
Wow,
dude.
okay.
That's strong.
Second round, 1996. And then he, kind of bounced around a little bit. Let's see, played some indie ball, but let's get into his coaching career. He became a coach in the Marlins organization, served as the hitting coach for the Greensboro Grasshoppers.
Shout out
the Grasshoppers.
It's a fire name.
Of the Class A South Atlantic League in 06. Then for the Jupiter Hammerheads of the Class A Advanced Florida State League in 07. Espada spent the next 2 seasons as the Marlins minor league infield coordinator. The Marlins named Espada as their third base coach prior to the 2010 season. He coached for the Puerto Rican national baseball team during the 2013 World Baseball Classic. My gosh, man, he's been in the big leagues.
He's been grinding.
Yeah,
He's grinding.
He served as the Marlins third base coach through the 2013 season. All right, so he's with the Marlins from 2010 to 2013. They wanted him to be the manager in Jupiter, but he said, nope. I'm going to take a job with the New York Yankees as a special assistant to the general manager, Brian Cashman. Then in 2015, he was elevated to team's infield coach, the third base coach. And he was in that role from 2015 to 2017, and then came over to the Houston Astros in 2018. And we know the rest is history. Now he's the manager.
Grinding.
So he's obviously got plenty of big league experience.
He's a baseball lifer.
Yeah, he's
paid his dues.
Yep.
I love it. I mean, when he was talking to his daughters about how you can be anything you want. You work hard, and eventually, you'll reach your dreams. Like that was
powerful.
That was powerful.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Yeah, he said, how we talk every day going to school about, like you said, following your dreams and working hard and things like that. And he said, Daddy's living his dream, or Daddy's got his dream.
Damn.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff, man. So you can tell this is obviously been a massive goal of his. He's finally got it. And he's put in the work, and it's come to fruition for him.
Yeah.
And again, man, just everything he said in his press conference has me fired up as a fan.
And honestly, he's learned from 3 great guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Girardi was a baseball lifer and has a title. Hinch has a title. Dusty has a title. And like to come from those trees, that's just keep the party going. And I think the best thing about it is, in the press conference, he was like, yeah, we have a few things we got to shore up, fill some gaps, but let's go to work. Like, he knows how great this lineup is, how this team is. Yes, it fell short this year, but I mean, keep the window going and keep giving you an opportunity to play for pennants and play for gold banners. And that's all you can ask for. And have that mindset from your skipper. I'm ecstatic.
Yeah, I think
it's a great day.
I think with him having experience here in Houston with he got me all fucked up with my hands and shit.
He was doing power moves.
Yeah, I think with the experience of being under AJ Hinch and then being under Dusty Baker and learning different ways and what worked for AJ, what worked for Dusty, what didn't.
Yeah.
Right? So then that's going to lead into what kind of manager will Joe Espada be?
Yeah.
Especially with analytics, because we know how analytically driven that this Houston Astros organization is.
Yeah.
So what will Joe Espada's lineup look like?
Yeah.
Now that he's the manager, what's the lineup going to look like?
Yanier Diaz, baby.
It's Yanier Diaz season.
It is Yanier season.
Yeah.
No, I think he's gonna play his guys. Dusty played his guys, but I more in the sense of like, hey, we're gonna have an optimal lineup, and we're gonna push it down the field. Do
you think we see more consistent lineups?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would assume, yeah.
Rather than resting guys,
often. I think this is what I think. The biggest knock against Dusty Baker, or at least for me, was the inconsistent lineup. Right, 162 games. I wouldn't be surprised if there was like 140 different lineups, 150 different lineups. Might be a little bit hot take-ish or embellished a little bit, but there was a lot of different lineups. We saw it, we knew it, we talked about it ad nauseum, like we talk about it all the time. I think that the front office works with the manager, and has matchups, has tendencies, has analytically driven things. But then I also think there's got to be a good balance between still having feel and knowing the players, and then also knowing the data that backs up things.
Yeah, he mentioned that in the press conference.
Right, and I think Dusty Baker leaned more towards the feel and his knowledge, which is fine. That's the way that he ran things.
Yeah.
But it's probably not how the front office wants things ran as a team and a lineup. So I think with Joe Espada, I think he will work better with Dana Brown and the front office guys or girls that are running these analytically driven spreadsheets and stat sheets and all this other stuff. So I think you have to have a good balance, and I think Joe Espada will do that.
Yeah, I think there was some unnecessary friction between Dusty's way and the Astro way, in the sense of, you got to think as on a human element, people were working to go through all this data, make a game plan, and then it wasn't used.
Right.
Like over 162, that would get incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
That you're doing all this work.
You're putting hours of work into this thing to say, for him to be like, nah.
Yeah.
And
now you have the opportunity for that to actually go into play. And obviously we know the fine balance of analytics and feel and gut, and there's no matter how you slice it, the other side's gonna have their pitchforks ready, because like cash pulling Snell in 2020 is still the most outrageous analytical thing of all time.
Terrible
where
decision.
The other side of it was Hinch also pulling Greinke.
Yeah.
And we've seen Dusty keep someone in too long, or, ride the hot hand. We've seen Bochy just go to his guys this past year. Like, you see, and no matter where you go, even the Arizona head coach, Tony
Lovello.
Lovello, yeah.
It was damned if you do, damned if you don't. Zach Gallen is is cruising through 6. He's at 65 pitches.
Yeah. He had a no-hitter going.
And you knew that third time through the lineup, it was like, well, here comes the juxtaposition of analytics and gut feel. Like, if he goes out there and shoves, they're gonna be like, oh, look at the analytics. They wanted him pulled. Well, he left him in, and he got shelled that third time through. Yeah. So, like, it's always gonna be damned if you do, damned if you don't. But as long as you have a game plan, I think, and you're just not flying by the seat of your pants. And it's ironic because all we do here is fly by the seat of our pants. But if you have a game plan and you trust it and all the work that's gone into it, but you can also adapt in the moment to be like, I'm going to ride this one on my gut right here.
That's that.
And I think that speaks volumes.
Yeah, and also it goes back into what baseball is. It's a game of adjustments, and that has to start with your manager.
Oh, 100%.
So I think, in hindsight, when you look back at that Game 7 where A.J. Hinch pulls Zach Greinke, I'm sure he either still makes that move and doesn't go to Will Harris, maybe goes to Garrett Cole in the bullpen, or he doesn't. Or he just relies on Zach Greinke to get you through that inning.
And let's not dwell on it, but
no.
Will Harris made a good pitch, and
right. But what
a couple baseball things go the other way.
Oh yeah,
that's a great decision.
Like no question, like
praising it.
What's the dude's Howie Kendrick put a good swing on it and got it off the foul. But what I'm saying is like you still have to have a good feel for feel in baseball
absolutely.
As a manager or a head coach in college, like whatever, or high school, youth baseball, whatever you're doing. You can look at statistics all day long, but there still comes a time when you have to go off of gut and feel. Like in Game 5 of the ALCS when
100%.
Joe Espada, he pinch hit for Yanier and John Singleton. I bet there was analytics behind it, but also there's got to be some feel in that moment. You're going to pinch hit John Singleton, who didn't have that many at-bats.
And Chandler confirmed, finally, that Singleton had no idea he was batting that ninth inning until the ninth inning. So that confirms that was Espada making the calls.
Yeah.
And the way he lined it up is Yanier lead off with no one on. We know Yanier with no one on is freaking prime Mickey Mantle.
Yeah.
And then knowing that Singleton, honestly, is a really tough out because of his walk rate and doesn't expand the zone. And it leads to the Altuve iconic home run in that moment. That resonates. And look, there will be times where that falls flat on your face, where Yanier rolls over and Singleton strikes out. But as long as you're taking those chances late in the game and giving yourself an opportunity,
it's all about, the analytic nerds will tell you this.
Increasing the percentage.
I talk with them. You increase your percentage of your chance to win, whether that's 1%, 10%, 30%. Like it might be a small adjustment that only increases your chance to win 1%, but wouldn't you rather have a 78% chance of winning rather than a 77% chance of winning? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
but you have to balance that with that feel.
And look, he's not going to go 162-0. Everyone in the comments section, he's going to lose 60 to 70 games. That is the sport we're in. But as long as you're maximizing your probability to win and giving your guys a chance, it's almost like it feels like in NFL or college football when you see a team punt like on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and you just can see the demeanor on the sidelines of heads go down.
Yeah.
But like if you go for it and you give your team a chance to put a game away or go get that first down,
make the defense beat you.
Yeah.
But also
that's all. I feel like that's what we'll see more of this year. Like we'll see less punting and more offense.
Yeah,
in that analogy.
And I think it goes deeper than that. I think it also shows the guys and your players that you have their back and like, hey, let's fucking go.
Yeah.
No, we ain't punting. We're going for it. I think that speaks dividend. That shows the clubhouse and that shows the dugout that their manager is ride or die for you. So I think he'll do a better job of that. And I also think there's a couple of at-bats that I'm thinking of. There was I forgot, it was a late regular season game where you could have pinch hit Chas McCormick. Dusty could have pinch hit Chas McCormick, but he went with the matchup. Like,
he pinch hit John Singleton.
And he struck out.
Yeah, and when Chas McCormick was on the bench.
Right, and it was because the righty or whatever, the lefty, righties at the plate are only hitting like $110 against whoever it was. But in my mind, in that situation, you look at your pinch hitters that are on the bench, you ride who's fucking hot. And at that moment, Chas McCormick was hot. That should have been the pinch hit. That's where the feel comes in, to me.
Yeah.
You can look at statistics all day long, but if Chas McCormick in the last 3 games is hitting 600, did you fucking pinch hit him? Fuck, damn the statistics.
I think a little bit with Dusty is him naturally, maybe 10 years ago, does pinch hit the best hitter on the bench. But I think he found himself maybe
criticize.
I think he found himself maybe trying to make the analytics people happy in some instances. He's like, fuck it, whatever with it, if they want that, then we'll do that.
Yeah.
And it was less of a collaboration and more of a punch back and forth.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And I think with Joe Espada, and I think a big thing that Dusty did last year, to be honest, and I know we're running up on time, but he gave Espada full control of spring training.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Carlos turning to Jeremy the year before he left. It was like, hey, I want you to be on my hip, be my shadow, and learn everything, because this is probably going to be your job next year.
Yeah.
So to have him run camp, and like it's a little thing, but to run the entire training camp before you actually become a manager, it's huge. Like spring training's a grind. We were there for a month.
There's a lot of moves you have to make throughout those games.
Like spring training, love it.
Yeah.
We're gonna be out there again, but for a month, they were there for a month and a half. It is it's literally Groundhog Day. Every day is the same. It's the same thing. It drives you insane.
After like 4 or 5 days, the excitement really wears off when it's
gosh.
like 1:30. It's hot. You're sitting there and you're just like, I just want to go eat some lunch and like relax.
And you're playing the same teams over and over again too. So to have Joe run camp that way, I think is a huge thing no one's really talking about, because he can just step in this year and do what he did last year, run it the way he wanted to. So it's great.
I'll tell you what, though, you talk about spring training. If any single A teams want to throw a couple contracts our way, I'll sign for a snapback hat and a bus ticket.
You know what I'm saying?
I went 3 for 3 on my alumni game, dude. I turned around 87. I still
Did
got
you?
it. Hell yeah, dude. It looked 97,
Man.
dude. It looked 97.
You can't play again for another couple months.
So. Yeah, no. My contract says after one game, I'm on the 60-day.
I wish my university, we at Sol Ross State had an alumni game. I couldn't play in it right now because of my back, but I would love if we had that. It's just, it's the Harvard of West Texas.
Harvard of the South, Harvard of West Texas.
Right, we're in the same school.
Yeah.
University
Ivy Leagues.
systems.
Ivy Leagues,
crazy.
baby.
Check that out. All right. I know we got some people to recognize.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beyond the Diamonds.
If you're still watching, though,
Zing Zang.
Make sure you subscribe. Hit that, smash that subscribe button. I mean, the Bloody Mary mix. Had some this weekend. Everyone knows I'm not a Bloody Mary guy, but had the blazing, boys.
Yeah.
The perfect amount of heat.
Especially
the perfect amount of heat.
It's cold and rainy.
Cold and rainy. Perfect amount of heat to hit you, to wake you up a little bit. College football, NFL football. We've had the London, Germany games going. Little Zing Zang Blazing mix. Zang responsibly. Big City Wings. We were out there last Sunday as well. The boys were watching CJ Stroud do his thing. Houston's Wing Joint, Apollo's Wing Joint. Everything about what Sam and Gerald are doing is amazing. Look at BigCityWings.com. I guarantee there's one within like 20 miles of you in the greater Houston area. And Celebrity Mint. We have a lot of big things lined up with them. Here's their Ric Flair Blue Chibi. You can get it on CelebrityMint.com. Some of their gold trading coins as well back behind me. Big things. They have Mike Tyson at the end of the month on eBay Live. They're doing a drop with Mike Tyson. So we'll be out there. Meet Iron Mike. We have some giveaways next week planned. Yeah, we have some giveaways. So follow them at the Celebrity Mint. Follow Zing Zang at Zing Zang and Big City Wings at Big City Wings on their socials. So shout out to them, because this doesn't happen without them.
All right, last thing before we get out of here. For the city of Houston, the Astros window is wide open. Still, you just hired the new manager, Joe Espada, for your Houston Astros. The Houston Texans, 5-4. They just walked off the Bengals in Cincinnati. They're 5-4. CJ Stroud is going to win Rookie of the Year, and he's in the MVP conversation. The Houston Rockets just beat the Denver Nuggets. They've won 6 in a row. The optimism in this city for Houston sports.
Don't forget the Dynamo.
Is the Dynamo. How can I forget the Dynamo? My bad. The Dynamo.
In the playoffs.
Second round of the MLS playoffs. They play Kansas City.
In Houston.
The sports in this city, the optimism.
Hell in the shell.
Is at an all-time high.
Yes, sir.
Or at least for the
first
back. Time in a long time.
City's back.
Did you say we're back?
City's back. The streets are saying we're back.
Are they back?
They're back.
The
streets are saying we're back.
That's going to do it for Beyond the Diamond.
All right. Thank you for watching and listening to Beyond the Diamond podcast. I'm Josh. That's been Des and Brian. And we will see you next time. Go Stros.
Vamos! Love you guys.